Doctor pleads guilty to misdiagnosing 550 patients, making $17.5 million. Let me watch this. Welcome to another episode of Content the New Crack. Hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We're gonna start this year off, 2025, real strong. And content coming multiple times a week, multiple times a day even. I'm a crazy man. I'm gonna be locked in all year, bringing you guys that fire content, man. We're gonna just react to some internet stuff, man, today. First thing on our content list, man. Doctor pleads guilty to misdiagnosing 550 patients, making $17.5 million. Let me watch this. 1 second here.
Being called a monster. A day of reckoning. We begin with that breaking headline today. A Michigan doctor sentenced, being called a monster. A day of reckoning for the doctor who diagnosed hundreds of patients with cancer when they...
Hey man, listen, doctors are one of those jobs that's high up there with like psychopaths that, you know, become doctors. Any position of power is very, very likely to, psychopaths like looking to get that job. And, doctors are one of them, unfortunately. People tend to give these doctors and people with, high class and high paying jobs, like it's the halo effect. It's kind of like being attractive. Like they think because you're a doctor, you're just a good person. And that's not true. People always tell you to go to the doctor, man. The medical industry is a shady industry. It's a shady game, man. Like these pharmaceutical companies, man, they're ripping you off. These doctors, man, they're just going through the motions. Half of them have their own problems. They don't even care about your problems, man. They're just trying to make money. They're licensed drug dealers. They're just trying to pump these drugs to you, and they're just trying to get you in the system and make some money off of you. And here's a broad example. Obviously not every doctor, but man, people are so quick to just believe whatever doctors say. But one of the reasons bro, you can't really trust a doctor is because we get second and third opinions. Like, doctors are humans. Some of them are just, they don't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? But half the time I go to the doctor, I already know what's wrong with me. I'm just going there to get the prescription that I need.
Not have it. Outside the court, the tears and anger. He lied to so many patients, giving many of them extensive chemotherapy, which then made them sick. So many of those families today coming face to face with the doctor as he was sentenced to 45 years behind bars. And you're about to hear what the doctor said to those families. ABC's Ron Claiborne leads us off.
Judgment Day for the doctor who caused so much pain. Victims of Dr. Farid Fata outside the courtroom where he was sentenced, hand in hand, then defiant.
45 years for the lives that he took.
It just wasn't enough.
In court, the 50-year-old doctor breaking down, saying, "I misused my talents, yes, and permitted this sin to enter me because of power and greed." But those words no comfort for Cheryl Blades.
I could hear him talking to my mother because I went to every appointment. So I could hear him talking to her and promising her to save her.
In all, Fata pleaded guilty to intentionally misdiagnosing more than 550 patients, often prescribing treatment for cancer that they did not have. He earned more than $17 million as a result.
Dr. Fata pounced on every opportunity to use a patient's body as a profit center.
One of the patients, 53-year-old Monica Flagg.
Stressful. It was extremely emotional.
Bro, if any of you guys have ever gone through, a relative fighting cancer, chemo is one of the hardest things to watch them go through. It's so damaging to your body, bro. It's such a painstakingly long process. And bro, this is sick, bro. This is one of the sickest things I've ever seen in a while, bro. This isn't sitting right with me, bro. I lost my grandma to cancer, bro, and I just remember seeing her go through chemo, and it was tough to say the least, bro. And this dude misdiagnosed 553 patients. 553 patients with cancer and profited $17.5 million. That's one of the problems with capitalism in the medical industry, like going hand in hand, man. People, we really underestimate the lengths that people will go to for money, and we really underestimate the power that greed has over the human heart. And like I said, we give these police officers and doctors and people of, you know, in these powerful positions the benefit of the doubt, but like, you really got to do your own research. And if you're going to just one doctor and get an opinion, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, bro, because this could easily be prevented by just like a little bit of distrust. Like, a little bit of distrust is good. You gotta, you know, if you feel like you're messed up, you gotta go to the doctor, like, so be it. Like, you should definitely do it, but you gotta go get a second and third opinion to make sure this isn't happening to you. Just imagine this, like, a lot of people die to the chemo. The chemo kills them. Man, just think about the 553 patients. Like, think about, by extension, how many lives, man, that negatively affected. How many lives that negatively affected. Not trying to be racist, but us blacks can start convincing our own people. If white's just gonna give guys like this a slap on the wrist, if he was black, he would have been everywhere. The guy would have been multiple life sentences. This is worse than what Diddy did. That's a fact. Like, I don't like to get into the black-white thing, or like, you know, the black thing with the law and all this stuff. But this is way worse than what Diddy did, bro. Like, what Diddy does is bad, bro. But this is beyond that, bro. This is misusing practice, the trust you gain from being a doctor, to gain strictly and putting people through a painstaking death, life-risking process, strictly to make money. That's it. Oh no, mistrial, and sue the prosecutor who was in charge of the charges. 45 years for 550 cases of attempted murder, malpractice, I'm sure forgery in a certain degree. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can add more cases. This should be the death penalty. How many of the people he's killed over this? That's no surprising. A doctor at a HCA hospital in Kissimmee didn't even know what sickle cell was, and my brother was in pain for a while before they found a doctor who knows how to treat them. Everything these days are a joke, and we as people need to pray a little harder. No, we don't need to pray a little harder. We need to be more informed and take our lives into our own hands. Yeah, this is more common than not. That's a fact. This is very common. When I was a kid, I'll just speak to a story. When I was a kid, maybe 9th or 10th grade, I was playing football. And if you guys ever played sports, when I would hit a tackle, I used to get a stinger. I would hit, and my arm would go numb. It's called the stinger. And I went to a doctor, and the doctor told me I would never play sports again. He told me that my skull socket was too small for my spine. Like if you were trying to put a size 10 foot in a size 9 shoe. That's basically what he told me. And he said I would never play sports again. I went to a chiropractor. I kid you not, the dude cracked my back 3 times and cleared me to play, and I never got a stinger again. And I ended up doing great things in sports. Was a college wrestler. I fight MMA. I do a lot of things, and that would have been the end of my sports career back then, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how things work. Once people see dollar signs, it's over. It is over. Once people see that money, man, it's over, Bob. Like it's a business, man. These medical field is a business. The real question is, how did he get caught? We need to start asking bigger questions. That is interesting. How did he get caught? I'm gonna Google it real quick. 550. Is this him right here? How did he get caught? This is him right here. It's definitely him. We're gonna get into here, man. I gotta see more about this story. This is crazy. A Michigan doctor. There we go.
Horrifying allegations against a cancer doctor in Michigan. Investigators say he was telling people they had cancer even when they didn't, then treating them just to get the money for treatment. Today, National Investigative Correspondent Jeff Rossman's here with this story. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning. This is a popular doctor who has more than 1,000 patients.
One second. Let me put this on here.
Trusted him, of course, and so these accusations are truly alarming. Anyone who's been through chemotherapy knows how rough it is, but prosecutors say this doctor was giving chemo to people who didn't need it. Some of them didn't even have cancer, all part of an alleged $35 million fraud. This is the man, Dr. Farid Fata, a trusted oncologist who prosecutors say preyed on patients to pad his pockets. The FBI hauling evidence from his offices last week in upscale Michigan neighborhoods. And the charges against Dr. Fata are disturbing. Deliberate misdiagnosis of patients as having cancer, giving unnecessary chemotherapy, even to end-of-life patients who will not benefit.
If he did indeed commit these crimes, then a monster is a very good description.
Jeff Burrs fears his father, Milton, suffered under Dr. Fata's care, prescribed chemotherapy for leukemia. But even as his health got worse, Jeff says Dr. Fata wouldn't stop chemo and went to great lengths.
Bro, that's ridiculous.
My dad would often arrive at Dr. Fata's office, and one of the staff would come out and actually administer the therapy session in my father's car while he's sitting out in the parking garage.
Yo, bro, it's gotta be worse than selling drugs, bro. He came and they administered the chemo in the parking garage, bro.
Now his son has reached out to prosecutors.
I hate to think that my father was either hurt or had his life shortened by this man if it wasn't necessary.
Prosecutors say Dr. Fata was motivated by money, billing Medicare for false claims, all the while living in this lavish mansion in a ritzy suburb. Federal agents have been here too, searching his home for evidence. Back at court,
Mrs. Fata, what do you care to say to patients today?
His wife, the company's CFO, wouldn't speak.
Oh, she's in on it. The CFO? She's in on it. She knows what's going down. She knows that nobody need that much chemo. The CFO.
But Dr. Fata's defense lawyer did, saying his client is innocent.
They're allegations only, and they're unsupported factually and legally at this particular point.
Dr. Fata's company now accused of defrauding the government and taxpayers out of $35 million. Officials say healthcare fraud is a growing problem.
It not only affects the patients.
Yeah, listen, fraud in any sense of the word is at an all-time high, man. Fraud in any sense of the word is at an all-time high. It is, it's ridiculous. I mean, in the healthcare, it's scary. But, man, I think he's just spamming it so much that the reports started adding up. I'll read the article. Michigan doctor who misdiagnosed patients with cancer and then bombarded them with unnecessary treatments will have to face his victims who lost their health savings and trust at an emotional sentencing hearing that opens on Monday. That's another thing, man. This cancer treatment, it doesn't only destroy your body, but it destroys you financially, mentally, emotionally. Dude, he's tearing families' lives apart. Anybody who's ever been through a cancer battle knows exactly what I'm talking about. Disabled auto worker Robert Sobriety is among those who plan to be in the Detroit courtroom when Dr. Farid Fata learns his fate for using patients as cash cows, telling some of them they were deathly ill with diseases they didn't actually have. In 2010, Fata diagnosed Sobriety with a rare blood cancer and subjected him to monthly infusions of chemotherapy and 3 weeks of radiation. Expensive treatments, he said, made his teeth fall out and his body twitch uncontrollably. Come on, man. This is some shit you expect to read in a comic book for some super villainous doctor character. And this is real life, bro. It's real life. You really gotta watch these doctors. After Fata was arrested in 2013 and charged in what a prosecutor said was the most egregious case of healthcare fraud in U.S. history, Sobriety went into a different oncologist and learned that he'd never even had cancer. Bro, imagine that. Bro, imagine. And these people got grandkids. Jesus Christ. I wonder if they can get any monetary. I wonder if they needleless chemo. What is that even? I wonder if they can get any monetary, recovery from that. Oh, and here's a wrestling coach, Rochester Wrestling. And Patty Haster was diagnosed with a cancer-like condition called myelodysplastic syndrome by Fata in 2010. She said the doctor told her she was terminal, refused to put her on a bone marrow transplant list, and instead gave her iron infusions and a drug for immune deficiency diseases. He told me I would die from cancer or a secondary infection, said Hester, who found out her diagnosis was bogus after Fata's arrest. There was no evidence I had MDS. I do not have MDS. Jesus Christ. Bro, countless victims. 550 victims, man. Hey, with that being said, listen, when you guys go into the doctor office, just remain skeptical. You know what I mean? Work with them. Don't be a pain in the ass, but just remain skeptical, man. And look out for your best interest out here, man. It's a cold world. Some of the people you trust the most will use that power to take advantage of you for their own personal gain, man. And I just want to leave you guys with that little tidbit of words of warning, man. Things aren't always what they seem on the surface. Take this how you will. Take it with a grain of salt. That being said, thanks for letting me in your hearts, minds, and souls. This was a darker story than we usually do, but man, stay safe out here, G. That's all I can say. Stay safe out here. Peace.